Hi everyone, welcome back to another video. In this video, we are going to create this neon navbar together. And we will scale it perfectly across different viewport widths. So before we get into it, make sure you are subscribed to this channel so you don't miss any upload. Leave a like on this video if it helps you out. Now let's get into it. In the HTML document, click the exclamation and press tab to generate a boilerplate. Now we'll change the title of this document to neon navbar. When you refresh, it appears over here. Now let's link our HTML document and our style.css file. And then we move to the website of Google Fonts. And we search for the Orbitron font family. Click on it and it gets the font and get the embed code. Move to the import and copy this line of code. And we'll paste it in the head of our CSS file. Now in the body element, create a navigation element and give it a class name of navbar. In this nav element, we'll have an A element, which is a link with a class of logo and an inner text of logo. It appears over here. Next, we create an unordered list with list items, and every list item should be a link. So the first list item should be for home, and copy and paste this for the other navigation items. The second will be for projects, the third for about, and the last for contacts. That's the standard navigation bar. And it appears over here. And that's it for the HTML of our project. So in the CSS file, first reset some properties like the margin and the pattern, and also the box size. Next, we start the body. So we change the background color of the body. And we change the font family to Orbitron. And a fallback font of sans serif. We give the body a height of 100 viewport height. And set the overflow X to hidden. Next, we style our navbar. So with the navbar class name, change the background and set the padding to 20 pixels, 60 pixels. Set the width to 100% and set the height to 150 pixels. And we add a box shadow. 0 for the right, 0 for the bottom, and 30 pixels blurred. And this color. And we make it insert to be inside our box, just as we see over here. We set the display to flex and justify content space between. We set the align item center. Now let's start the logo. So with my logo class name, remove the text decoration from the link. So remove the underline and we increase the font size. And we change the text color. Next, we start an unordered list. With my navbar class name, any unordered list, remove the bulletin and set the display to flex. And by default, the flex direction is row. And we'll give the items a gap of 30 pixels. And we start the links. So with my unordered list, any list item and a link on anchor element that is a descendant of the unordered list, we change the text color. Underline. And we increase the font size. Add them 10 pixels for the vertical and 20 for the horizontal. Then we add a border. And a border radius. Then we add a box shadow also. And set the position to relative. Then we add a before pseudo element for the neon effect. With my unordered list, any list item and an anchor element, we add a before pseudo element. So the content should be empty and the position should be absolute. Since we set the position of our link to relative, then our before pseudo element will stick to our link. Top positioning should be 0, left positioning also 0, a width of 100% and a height of 100%. Then a background color and with this we set the opacity to 0 to make it disappear, and only when we hover over this should it appear. So with my anchor element, when we hover over it, set the color to black and a background this color, just as we have over here. And add a box shadow. Now with my anchor element, when we hover over it, what happens to the before pseudo element? So we set the opacity to 1 this time, and we add a box shadow. This is what we have. So now we add a smooth transition to our anchor element. A transition of 0.3 seconds is for all. Now we make a string for different screen sizes. So we use a media query. When a maximum width is 1200 pixels. So for that, we take our navbar and set the padding to 15 pixels, 40 pixels, and give it a height of 130 pixels. Now we take our logo as a link, set the font size to 2.5 rem, and you select our unordered list and give them a gap, give the items a gap of 20 pixels. And then with my unordered list, any list item, we take the anchor element and set the font size to 1.1 rem and a padding of 8 pixels, 16 pixels. Now we copy this and paste it and edit it for a different screen size. So when the maximum width this time is 992 pixels, what do we do to our navbar? So the padding should be 17 pixels and 30 pixels this time around. And the height should be 120 pixels. And for our logo, the font size should be 2 rem. And the gap should be 15 pixels for our unordered list. Now for our nav links, the font size should be 1 rem and a padding of 6 pixels and 14 pixels. So we are just decreasing the values of the parameters for a smaller width. Do the same for another screen size when the maximum width is 768 pixels. So our navbar should have a pattern of 10 pixels, 20 pixels, and the height should be 100 pixels. Now our logo should have a font size of 1.6 rem, and the unordered list should have the same gap. But this time, our link should have a font size of 0.9 rem and a padding of 5 pixels, 12 pixels. This is the final design of our navigation bar. So for a different screen size, it decreases, and as the screen width increases, the font and the parameters also increase. So yeah, that's how to create a scalable neon navigation bar with just HTML and CSS. I hope this video helped you out, and if you did, make sure to hit the subscribe button so you don't miss an upload. Leave a like on this video and comment down below. See you in the next tutorial.